Now, the Nigeria Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC, has released a notice to the public to update Nigerians on what's been going on in the oil and gas sector, particularly divestments from IOCs to indigenous companies. IOCs, of course, being international oil companies. So there it is, update on some IOC divestment activities. One of them that it mentions, there it is in the second paragraph, is the Nigeria Agip Oil Company divestment to the Oando Petroleum and Natural Gas Company Limited. It also mentioned the Mobile Petroleum MPNU over to Seplat, saying that of course should be closed in about 120 days or so. So not too much longer before that is sorted out. So here to join us to talk about the particularly the Agip, Nigeria Agip Oil, that divestment over to Oando, is Arise business analyst Chika Mbonu. Chika, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes. I know,
I'm sure our listeners will wonder what happens. I'm the anchor.
We're switching things up. All right, we keep it fresh. So you might be interviewing me.
Yeah,
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I mean, you know how passionate we have been on this program about the one major gift that God has given to us.
Our oil.
Our oil. And God can give you gifts, and then if you don't manage the gifts properly, you might be just in hunger and penury,
right? Like
our country has been, and compared to other geographies. And just for our viewers, put some background to this, is that at the time that Nigeria started prospecting oil, it was what they call the international oil companies. They call them IOCs, who started the process, or who led the process. And then what happened then was, because Nigeria anchored through NNPC, entered what I call joint ventures with these IOCs to start prospecting the oils at different assets at different locations in Nigeria. And so you have different joint ventures. And in most cases, NNPC took 60%, while these IOCs, international oil companies, became the operator. Operator means that the people who are running the wells day to day, running the sites, prospecting the oil, using the expertise and everything. That's how it's been. But increasingly, fossil fuel, which is crude oil and essentials, have become less attractive to the world, as the world has been moving towards new renewable energy, energies, and then focus on issues of climate and so on and so forth. And so it's become less attractive as the world is moving towards that. And what's happened, therefore, is international oil companies, most of them who are from the western part of the world, have come under increasingly pressure to divest from their holdings on these crude oil projects or fossil fuel projects. Yeah. And Nigeria happened to be host all of them. Now, that's one element. The other element in Nigeria is okay, even if you don't want to divest, we are more put under pressure, because in Nigeria, the assets are either onshore or offshore. Onshore means on the land or shallow waters, and then onshore means in the deep seas. Remember what's been happening. A lot of them who are onshore on the land, they've been having issues of stolen, broken pipes, stolen fuel products, kidnapping, and community issues. And so that has exacerbated, add on top of it, the issue of pressure from the foreign countries. The issue as international banks are no longer actually very financing all those crude oil assets. Most of them now decided to, divest. Yeah. And they divest, as I've been doing, the country is a loser. And I'm trying to get at something. The country is a loser. Once they make the decision to divest, means those wells, they have no more investment in them.
Right.
And they go out there. The law has put out the procedures for how to get those who take over your project, your assets, and then the Nigerian, what they call domestic oil companies, have started bidding for them, and that's what's been happening. And but you see, the issue. I'm happy that the NUPRC has come out now to come and talk about this. Thank God for the pressures they are under. The issue, one of the major issues, that it has taken a long time for these approvals to be given. So you have the Renaissance share transaction, you have the Seplat Mobi transaction. Of course, you have this Oando and now deal.
Yeah.
A lot of them have been on the shelf since, and luckily Shell undergo their own through. But which I'll address in a minute. The point I'm talking about now is that it's important that the regulatory authorities become facilitators for these deals, because the nation is a loser. You have seen the report that says how much the nation is losing for the non-approval of the Seplat mobile deal. Not surprising, therefore, we're saying we're not meeting our EU quota. We're struggling at 1.3 million barrels, but we know the reasons. A lot of these wells are shut down.
Yep.
No more investments in them because these approvals for transfer ownership have not been done. We realize that NNPC has a right of first refusal when people divest, but the issue is also they cannot be carrying assets they cannot sweat in their books. I'm saying that everybody in the chain, the NNPC, NUPRC, should realize that the nation is in distress. And when these domestic investors who manage to raise the funds for these projects issue interest, they should be supported, not being encumbrances in their part. That's very important for us to put it out there. Very important for us to put it out there. Because it costs a lot of money for them. If you make commitments to banks abroad and say we have a deal in place, it takes them 2-3 years. Is a problem. Now, let me address the issue of
Oando and
Oando again. A lot of people have talked about that. Oando's process went through in 18 months. And they've ascribed it to so many things. Now, a lot of people don't understand that, okay, when you talk about the president didn't start today.
Right.
It's a journey.
Exactly.
So a lot of people didn't know that Oando, the Oando you're talking about today, actually started as a super petroleum that transformed to Unipetrol when Nigeria acquired the asset of Esso Petroleum.
Yeah.
When Ocean and Oil Holdings bought into Unipetrol, 30%, increased to 42%, and then subsequently, Ocean and Holdings also bought into Agip, and that's how the Unipetrol holding with Agip, and in 2001, 2003, became, I think 2003, that's when this new name, Oando. So the history or the story,
the healthy history,
the story of Agip and Oando didn't start today, it has been on there. And what I just said is that in 2014, Oando bought the joint venture that had Konoko, Agip, and NNPC. Konoko 20%, Agip 20%, NNPC 6%. Oando bought off Konoko Holdings, 1.8 billion at that time, and in 2014 or thereabout, and became a non-operator, a silent partner, and that's why they got their teeth, and so that's when they entered into this joint venture. Remember, that's how they entered into it. And an analogy I give to you is this: why maybe Oando's own transaction was faster was because of the fact that just imagine that three of us who are roommates. And then one of the roommates decides to travel and wants to sell off his room. Because we're roommates already, the transaction will be faster.
You always have the best analogies.
The transaction will be faster. Unlike if a stranger is coming outside to come and buy that room. So Oando has been there, understood everything, understand the processes, whereas all the people who are buying from externally will go and appoint consultants to go and check, is the well right? Do they have the reserves? Do whatever. Oando had all these things. But the other one I want to tell you also is this, that my mother was a primary school teacher.
Oh, okay.
Primary school teacher. And I remember in my primary three, I was in her class.
Oh, you were in her class?
Yes. And I came first in that class.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of people didn't ascribe it to my competence. This is my mother. These are people I've been beating left and right before now. So if Oando has some appendages or link to people in the authority now, a lot of may ascribe it to that.
Right.
Not really the fact that they had a good package deal. And the circumstance of their own transaction would be different from the other ones. Now, but you see, I just put it out there. But the bigger picture, as I told you, is that people are saying, 18 months. I think it shouldn't take 18 months for other approvals.
Right.
Let approvals be straightforward. NNPC should support them. If you don't have the funding, let it go.
Right.
So people can just go ahead and do that. I know that NUPRC has to do its six-stage approval, or the checking on those things, whether you're going to have the competence you have with that. But that's okay. But just let them assist in making sure that support the domestic oil producers who buy these assets. Okay, I thought I provided a background.
The ground work.
Yes, for that. So Oando has seen that set, is gotten it. And the good thing for them is they have been inside this asset position. They remember they were silent partners, they had 20%.
Yeah.
But now, the beautiful thing about now, with this acquisition, their own holding moves to 40%. And also they become operators for the assets.
Okay.
Now, that's very good for them.
Yeah.
And one thing I like, one beautiful thing I like about when we're doing programs like this is I'm a capitalist.
Yeah.
I support capitalism.
Of course.
And that's why we have supported people like Alhaji Dangote in this program, Femi Otedla in this program, because they have made sacrifices, borrowed money, to make investments, not to go and stock the money in some banks abroad and stuff like that. So Oando has borrowed money to make this investment because they have been strategic. Listen, since 2014, Oando has taken a decision that they want to move from the downstream sector, that naira income base, and low margins, to the upstream, that dollar base. Dollar base.
Yeah.
And so they have suffered intentionally. They have been selling down all their downstream assets and midstream assets. And in 2017, they sold off all their downstream assets to this OVH consortium. In 2018, they sold their midstream to another group. And then, so you see, they have tactically left that downstream and middle stream and put all the assets into upstream. And that has been very strategic for them. And you know that the results in the last years have not been stellar.
Right.
Because of they have been bloodied. You are holding a junior position in the partnership with NNPC, with Nigerian oil Agip, and then through the borrowed money for that, oil prices are falling down. You don't have any cover for that. So now, finally, they become an operator. Okay. So that's one major thing. So they're holding in those assets have moved from OML 60, 61, 62, 63, have moved from 20% to 40%. So they're really the operator. Yeah. Indeed, the first indigenous operator.
Okay.
In this kind of position.
Yeah. What does, when you look at these deals, what's your holistic view of Nigeria's oil and gas sector? Is this encouraging in the direction that we're going in?
It's encouraging the direction we're going in. Nigerians can do it if they're given the support. Yeah. And I said the support starts from what? The quick approvals by the regulatory agencies, the issue of security for the pipelines. Now, indeed, this deal that Oando got will give them about almost 1,500 kilometers of pipelines. The existing joint venture had contracts for the LNG, with a refinery on supply of gas and so on. So those will continue to run. They also had power plants. Those will continue to run. So the future is right for us. Nigerians can do it. Remember the marginal fields, we talked about that in this program. Yes. Again, it's the issue of giving them the right support. And I've screamed on this program and said, declare a state of emergency in the oil industry. Right. This is where our blood is. Make sure you support all of them. Now, so for Oando, what is next? And acquiring the asset is one thing. At current valuation, I think one of the best two valuers in the world, they have about 1 billion oil equivalent in reserves.
Okay, that's okay.
Reserves. Yeah. Even at the valuation of the company undervalued, I think it's about $3 billion now. So if they get the right funding in working capital, ab initio and time, the sky's the limit, as they normally would say.
Gotcha.
The sky's the limit. So that's the issue, funding. Because remember, as I said, a lot of the Western banks have stayed away from crude oil, fossil fuel funding now. Yeah. So they must find a way of providing them the working capital they require. Now they have the asset to run those assets, to run the wells.
And as far as the security of oil infrastructure, do you think that is going to, because I know the security apparatus have said they're going to try and rectify things by October, November. Are you confident that we can get that right before the year?
Oh, of course, one of the questions analysts have asked Oando is this, that there are a couple of, like I said, when I said in my rider, I said one of the major reasons also that this IOC is pulled out is the issue of what's happening in those locations, especially those onshore and the shallow waters. The issue of security, burst pipes, stolen oil, and so on and so forth. And somehow it happens that when you're Nigerians, you're able to handle Nigerian problems.
Right. Yeah, on the ground.
On the ground. Yeah. And that's basically that. Yeah. And someone like Oando, they've been there Remember, there have been junior partners in that partnership. They have seen it there. They have sat down on the table, even though they're not the chairman of the board, but now they're in charge.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll be able to handle a lot of these things. And then with the government realizing that, as I said, remember the NUPRC was a declared state of emergency in oil.
That's right, yeah.
You know, so raising security, that as I said before in this program, I said, it's not the junk getting to Dubai or to Philippines or whatever that will give us wealth. God has given us oil. Let's shepherd it, let's look after it very well.
Yeah.
The government should focus on that, engage the communities, and make sure that the pipes are not being blown up, and the productions are, not that you produce 100 barrels, and then at the wellheads, you only 1 or 2 barrels is there.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I mean, someone told Lumelo also cried, that all the oil doesn't reach, production doesn't reach the tanks.
Yeah.
It's a problem. So that's that. To address Nigerian problems, I think maybe Nigerians will better to address it.
All right. Arise business analyst Chika Mbonu. Chika, thank you so much for the breakdown. Very important update in Nigeria's oil and gas sector. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.